Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another Overwatch video here talking about the newest patch to the game, nerfing Roadhog, making a change to Reaper, and giving a buff to McCree's Deadeye Ultimate. So we got some good, we got some better, and we got some ugly. So let's start off with the ugly, Mr. Roadhog. He's been given a huge change. Now, Roadhog is, I think, one of the more interesting characters in the metagame of the history of this over a year now of Overwatch play. Because the game, first came out, Roadhog, he was a character. Some people would use him, whatever. Hook was okay. And no one really gave the character credit. I remember seeing, tons of videos where people were, yelling at people for picking Roadhog. Roadhog's not even good. Only one pro player ever uses Roadhog, and he barely does it. Blah blah blah. And that's when Roadhog, now we know now, having gone through all the patches, that's the strongest he ever was. With some minor, tweaks and things to making his hook more consistent or his, one-shot ability a little bit better here and there. But he was always really good and people didn't notice, and then when Triple Tank came out, he was dominating, absolutely dominating. He was the most important character in the entire roster. He was, one of the best in the whole game. His whole hog was the fastest charging ult in the game, or it was in the top 3. But then that got a nerf on the charge, and then the hook got quote-unquote nerfed 3 times in a row when they were all actually buffs. I mean, you couldn't pull people through walls, but that was never intended. But now hooks were more consistent, and you can one-shot a lot better, and you can, toss people off and stuff like that if you moved right after hooking them, if you were next to a ledge or something like that. And Roadhog was amazing, and then he finally got his first ever nerf after 5 buffs, after already being really good. He finally got a nerf in the cooldown of his hook, which I don't know if any were, how many of you were here back then, but one of my first Overwatch videos when I was talking about balancing, one of the main things I said that I think needs a nerf is the cooldown of the Roadhog hook, because it was insane. So that finally got a nerf, and Roadhog was finally worse than he was at launch. And, then we start seeing, characters getting a lot more attention in slow incremental growths and buffs and nerfs. Nothing a bit too drastic, and the PTR was kind of handled a little bit better. But now Roadhog is not going to do as much damage with his gun. And to compensate for that, his fire rate is going to be increased, and he's got 1 extra shot in his gun before he has to reload. So his one-shot kill capability was drastically lowered when it came to the hook shot or hook shot melee combo. You're going to be able to get a follow-up shot a lot faster, so you're probably going to be able to finish off targets that you just barely couldn't kill, whether it be by yourself or a target running away or something like that, and you won't have to worry about your reloads or your fire rate being so slow, so you'll be able to finish things off. And that's kind of one of the good things that's come with Overwatch in their past 6 or so patches. Whenever they make a buff or a nerf, unless it's super small or a quality of life, they will, if they're gonna buff something in a character, they're also going to nerf something, and if they're going to nerf something, they're also going to buff something. So it's just a little bit of a give and take to make a character slightly worse or slightly better, because they don't want to go the honor route and make someone way too strong when they initially thought they were way too weak, or make someone way too weak when they were initially thought to be way too strong. And what this does is it finally takes Roadhog out of the must-pick category, because, I mean, his hook is still going to do all the things that hook does, but he's no longer going to be able to go with the flanks and get all of those one-shots. He's not going to one-shot Lucio anymore. If someone has a Harmony Orb on them, you might have some trouble, getting them, unless they're not at full health like that Tracer was. But the changes to Roadhog were drastic, and it's going to take him out of some comps. And I think that might be a good thing, because he was a must pick for so long. And here with the Reaper buff, an interesting thing about their interaction now is that I think no matter what, even if Roadhog is at full health, as long as Reaper is at full health or close to full health, if Roadhog hooks Reaper, Reaper wins that fight because of the lifesteal, the 33% lifesteal on hit. And it's big, even with the head box reduction of Roadhog, which was, you know, once again, a little bit of a buff. Reaper is going to win that duel every time, even if Hog hooks him and Hog has full health, because Reaper's lifesteal is just going to burn right through that Roadhog. So that's very interesting. Reaper now absolutely destroys Roadhog. So that kind of, you know, puts Reaper in a really good position now. He's able to duel more tanks. Now, it was a little bit up in the air whether this was really going to be a buff or a nerf. And there I was just trying to see what Death Blossom can do now with lifesteal. So I was kind of trying to see in what situations he'll now survive, and obviously that wasn't one of them. But I have had some instances on a Death Blossoming Reaper where I used to be able to kill him and now I can't because he's lifestealing, because he's hitting, you know, 1 or 2 teammates, you know, and possibly myself as well, to where in the previous instances I could, you know, Zarya bubble it and then totally destroy him. But now he'll live longer and he'll outlast and destroy my bubble. And obviously, you know, that Lucio barrier is still going to stop those Death Blossoms from doing some things. But it was interesting, and I think we're still going to have to do some testing with Reaper to see if this was a really good change or not. I do miss the health orbs. It is a bit of a nerf and a bit of a buff. He's not going to do so well in many instances where he's getting continual kills in a row, or there's already health orbs on the field and you can just pick multiple up at a time when you're really low, or get a kill, take an orb, get a kill, take an orb. Especially on squishies, he's going to be less of a threat against them, but he's going to be more utilizable against tanks because they have a bigger health pool and he's going to be able to do more damage with them. So a pocketed Reaper is now something you really need to worry about. But now let's talk about McCree. Now he only got one change, and it was to his Deadeye, and boy is it nice. It's not pre-nerf amazing, but as you can see right here, that's not something you could have done just a week ago, and it's very, very cool. And now he's definitely a character worth nanoing a lot more so now, because it'll help him, you know, Deadeye in on his targets, and the fact that he already starts with higher damage this time, and he'll be able to hone in faster as well. Nano Boost is going to be a fantastic thing to do, as well as, you know, a Caduceus Staff or an Orisa ult right there, which she was just a little late for, but regardless, I did pick up all of those kills. So he's going to be able to pop off, you know, single or double kills, especially to take care of those nuisance Pharahs now very, very quickly, or if someone's on really low health or a couple targets on really low health, you can just eliminate them right out of the equation from the get-go. So, you know, making his ult a bit more on par with the other offensive characters, because the offensive characters, they are supposed to have the best ults when it comes to ults that can kill people. And now McCree can be more competitive in that sense. And that's a very good thing, especially since they didn't make any changes to his flashbang or his roll or, you know, damage over range or anything like that. So now more play of the games for McCree are going to happen, and those are going to be game-changing plays that kind of make him a lot more viable nowadays. So we're gonna have to wait and see if this Reaper thing is a bit too much, if they need to, you know, get his lifesteal a little bit lower, in which case it's gonna make him a lot weaker in even more instances, but the whole pocket thing is gonna be more manageable. The McCree thing is nice, and I think the Roadhog thing is a good way to switch up the meta, but we might see some fine-tuning down the road with that as well.